Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the 25th Anniversary and Buckley Awards. I am your host, Cindy Circatella, and this is brought to you by America's Future Foundation. I am so excited to spend the evening with you celebrating the advance of freedom in our country. At this point, it is kind of redundant to say 2020, what a year, but my goodness, what a year has it been. At AFF, we needed to rethink nearly everything in order to make sure we could serve all of you this year. For over 25 years, we've been known as the place to gather, to meet, to debate, and to enjoy many rounds of drinks, and suddenly we couldn't do that anymore. And we were pretty sad to no longer be the place where you found your next job, or let's be honest, your next date. But like they say, necessity is the mother of invention, and thanks to your thirst for conversation and knowledge, we've been able to adjust in new and exciting ways. Tonight, in place of our typical annual gala, we're hosting this virtual celebration. And several of you, lucky enough to live in cities more free than Washington, D.C., are watching in groups together. We are so thrilled to have all of you join us tonight. Before we begin, I'd like to thank our sponsors. First, Free the People, who is helping us stream this. Also, the Heritage Foundation, Young Voices, the Leadership Institute, Hillsdale College, CC External Affairs. Thank you guys so much for sticking through it with us through this crazy year. We have got an exciting evening planned, so let's get things moving. First, we're going to take a little trip down memory lane, checking in on the old days of AFF. Back in March of 1995, a group of ambitious young people, hungry to hone their skills and their beliefs, formed a discussion group set around a kitchen table. That summer, out in St. Mary's, Maryland, 100 people came together to commit to supporting the launch of our organization. They raised enough for their first event, How the Right Should Talk About the Environment. In those days, spaghetti and beer were on the menu, and every event promised a robust discussion about the future of our nation and the values we hold dear. Because AFF was a place for young people, organized by young people, no discussion was off limits. Over the years, we've debated topics like climate change, drug legalization, the future of the conservative movement, marriage equality, dating and workplace, and censorship. Each of you has been a part of the agenda. You've brought your own passions and skills to the table. Along the way, you gained experience, you learned to write, to argue, to organize, and you became the next generation, leading the charge to advance freedom around the country. Let's take a little look back, shall we? And while you watch, why not take a moment to drop some of your favorite memories of AFF in the comments? We're going to play a slideshow now. Before we move on, I'd also like to take a moment to recognize the AF team of today. From our 5 full-time employees to 5 more part-timers, the 3 women of Talent Market, our 3 regional hub leaders, and 13 chapter leaders around the country, your work makes everything happen, and it's an honor to build AF alongside all of you. Now, whether it was Tim Carney, Catherine Mangu-Ward, David Ferdoso, or Ramesh Panuru, AF has been a space for journalists to grow their skills and find their voice. In 2016, we launched the Writing Fellowship, a 6-week intensive program that trains aspiring writers on great writing skills, as well as pitching to media outlets. Thanks to this work, alumni of the program have been published 5,000 times this year alone. We are so grateful to Adam O'Neill of the Wall Street Journal, who launched this program, to Jason Russell of The Examiner, who managed it for 3 years, and to Matthew Purple, editor of The American Conservative, who builds the curriculum today. This program is made possible thanks to a generous donation by the Rising Tide Foundation, and really thanks to the tireless efforts of its manager, Josh Evans, who has shepherded the program to serve over 100 students each year and launch 3 new exclusive seminars. Each year, we recognize 3 rising journalists for their efforts, and here to announce those winners is Josh Evans. Josh, thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much, Cindy. So I'm really excited to be able to recognize the work of some of our alumni here tonight. Over the last 6 years since we launched in 2014, we've trained hundreds of aspiring writers through the Writing Fellows program to write more persuasively, connect with their audiences, pitch their work to editors, and ultimately be more effective advocates for liberty. One of my favorite parts of this job is being able to see all the amazing things that our alumni are doing. And I'm happy to be able to share a few of those things tonight. So our first award is for the Op-Ed of the Year. I think it's safe to say that we're all getting a little sick of politics, the anger and vitriol, the dishonest political maneuvering, the sort of empty gestures of social media activism. This year's winner attempts to cut through all of that and connect to a more human element. In our op-ed, she encourages us to be less concerned with presenting the right political values and more concerned with just practicing civic virtue and showing kindness and compassion to others. For those of us who make a career out of policy advocacy, it's an especially important lesson to learn. So for her Roanoke Times op-ed, "I don't want to be an ally, I want to be a friend," this year's Op-Ed of the Year award goes to Bess Blackburn. Now, our second our second award is the Rising Star Award to recognize those who are a little earlier in their career but already doing fantastic work. Tonight's winner is the manager of the Cato Institute's Libertarianism.org project, which serves as a valuable resource on the fundamental ideas of liberty, serving as a platform for both the more foundational texts as well as modern day writers and thinkers. She's also the co-host of the Pop and Locke podcast, and that's Locke as in John Locke, which examines the way that political ideas show up in pop culture. On top of all that, her op-eds have appeared in publications including The National Interest, The Washington Times, and Counterpunch magazine. So for her work in making the ideas of liberty accessible and relatable to the average person, this year's Rising Star Award goes to Natalie Dowzicki. Now, our last Writing Fellows Alumni Award for the night is the Career Achievement Award. So when we put together our speaker lineups for the Writing Fellows program and the other related seminars, we always make sure to bring in people with expertise in a variety of writing formats and career paths, op-ed writers, obviously, but also book authors, think tankers, government staffers, etc. Tonight's winner could easily fill just about any of those speaking slots. He started his career in the policy nonprofit world, working first at the Manhattan Institute, then the Foundation for Government Accountability. And during that time, he was named to the Forbes 30 Under 30 for Law and Policy, authored 2 books and co-authored another. From there, he served first in the Department of Labor and then later on the White House Council of Economic Advisors, where he was able to more directly affect the policies he previously advocated for. And most recently, he's returned to the nonprofit space as a senior policy advisor at the Cicero Institute. And all throughout this incredible career, tonight's winner has maintained an impressive media presence, appearing in print and on camera at outlets including Forbes, The Wall Street Journal, the BBC, and NPR. So for the work he's done in government, the media, publishing, nonprofit advocacy, this year's Career Achievement Award goes to Jared Meyer. So congratulations to all of our winners. And if any of you watching feel inspired by these accomplishments to start sharpening your own writing skills, I'd highly recommend you apply to the next class of the Writing Fellows program. We're currently accepting applications for the spring 2021 class, and you can find details about the program and the link to the application on our website under the Opportunities tab. So thanks so much. Cindy, back to you.
Thank you, Josh, and congratulations again to Bess, Natalie, and Jared. I'm so appreciative that you're sharing your voice with all of us. Now, back in 2017, the Young Conservative Coalition came to ask AF about taking over its annual Buckley Award, a prize that honors the contributions of leaders all under the age of 40 who have achieved great victories for freedom. This award is designed to highlight the impact that young people can have on improving the lives of others. It's designed to inspire each of you to take on great challenges and to get to work advancing the cause of freedom within your communities. Young people can do great things, and you are no exception. This year, we are thrilled to announce the winners of the 2020 Buckley Awards. 5 individuals who have gone above and beyond, dedicating their lives, careers, and tens of thousands of hours towards shaping America's future into one that offers opportunities to succeed for all of us. They are an endless inspiration, and I can't wait to introduce you to each of them. But first, I'd like to thank the Decision Committee for helping us identify this year's recipients. These decisions are not made lightly. Over 110 nominations were received, and the AF team pored over every one to land on a list of just 12 finalists. Those finalists were sent to our committee to determine the 5 winners. I am so grateful to Anna Scott, Evan Baer, Chris Malagisi, Meredith Turney, and Helena Richardson for sharing their time and wisdom to help us select this year's winners. Now, without further ado, let me introduce you to this year's winners of the Buckley Awards. First is someone who has become a really great ally to AF. In 2014, Casey Given took the lead of Young Voices while it was still a project of Students for Liberty. He has since spun off this talent agency, which helps place vital, freedom-minded young voices across the country. Thanks to the efforts of Casey and his team, our values are represented in newspapers, TV, and radio. Young Voices trains its contributors to give liberty a great name, and I know it has been a vital stepping stone for many of you. For your intentional and selfless work to develop the media careers of young leaders, Casey Given, I am so thrilled to present you with the 2020 Buckley Award. Difficulty, so I'm going to move on to Justin Owen, who is President and Executive Director of the Beacon Center. I remember when Justin took over this role when he was just 27 years old, after working as the Director of Legal Policy and then General Counsel. It has been an amazing thing to see Beacon Center rise. Under his leadership, the Beacon team has achieved a massive list of reforms that make the lives of Tennesseans better. I'm just going to name 3. 1, they enacted civil asset forfeiture and other criminal justice reforms. 2, they enacted direct primary care health reform. And this year, they ensured that everyone in Nashville could conduct business in their home. Yes, this was illegal. Justin, your work has real, tangible impact on the lives of so many, and I am so honored to give you this Buckley Award this year.
Well, thank you, Cindy, and thank you for this tremendous honor. Being recognized in the name of one of my all-time heroes is something I'll never forget. Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition, National Review is the first real magazine I picked up as a child. Not only did William F. Buckley leave an impression on me then with his ideas, but our shared values and ideals have made me a better leader within the state. And really, this award is not about me. It's a recognition of the tremendously talented team at Beacon, who's right here behind me. I've been constantly amazed that they have stepped up during the pandemic to be Tennessee's chief voice against government overreach and for protecting both lives and livelihoods. They've proven that they were meant for such a time as this, and that tonight's recognition only solidifies that their hard work is not going to go unnoticed. So thank you again, Cindy. Thank you for AF and your team for this award. It's one that I'll always cherish.
Jessica Anderson, Executive Director of Heritage Action. She rejoined the team as their leader just 2 years ago, and in this time, Jessica has expanded their activist network to over 2 million individuals. They have run extensive phone banking and door-knocking campaigns, and they've grown their roster of Sentinel leaders. Prior to Heritage Action, Jessica worked at the Office of Management and Budget. She has been recognized as a 30 under 30 with Forbes, Newsmax, and Red Alert. Jessica, for your massive efforts to activate millions of freedom champions across the nation, I am honored to give you a Buckley Award this year. Congratulations.
Recipients, it's an honor to receive this award. And while we aren't toasting in person, everyone will raise a glass and toast each other here tonight, virtually, of course. Well, as evidenced by truly the incredible stories behind each of tonight's awards, we are all committed to one thing, which is preserving and advancing freedom. For me, the fight for conservative principles truly comes alive each and every day that I work with grassroots Americans across the country. It's on their doorstep, at their kitchen table, at rallies and events that the policy issues we debate here in Washington come to life. For behind the research paper and the polling analysis are real people dealing with important issues. How will we open our businesses and our schools amidst these COVID lockdowns? How do we find the right doctor that is within our employer's coverage? How do we not get slammed with taxes and entitlements as we look closely at our take-home pay? All of this is hugely important, and it's easy for politicos in Washington to really forget that behind all of these debates are real people with real choices. So my hope is that the work that we do that's honored here tonight, that we never lose sight of our greater purpose, which is to make life better for all Americans, to provide opportunity for all and favoritism to none. And on behalf of Sentinel Nation and over 2 million Heritage Action grassroots activists, it's my honor to accept this award tonight. Thank you, and see you all in the trenches.
Next, we are going to move on to our next winner, Casey Given, who has become a real ally to AF. Back in 2014, Casey took over Young Voices when it was still a program at Students for Liberty. Since then, he has grown this talent agency to help place thousands of young people, hundreds of young people in the news, on the radio, and in newspapers. I know that he has been a valuable part of many of your careers as you've begun to advance. And so, Casey, I am so honored to give you this year's Buckley Award. Your careers as you've begun to advance. And so, Casey, I am so honored to give you this year's Buckley Award.
Thank you, Cindy. It's an absolute honor to receive a Buckley. I want to thank America's Future Foundation for the important work it does empowering young professionals in the liberty movement. As the CEO of a professional organization myself, professional development organization, I've seen what a life-changing impact the work that organizations like AF can have on the career of students, entry and mid-level professionals. To that end, I'd like to thank Students for Liberty for connecting me to the movement and giving me so many opportunities for growth as a student and as an entry-level professional, including the chance to spin off Young Voices. I'd like to thank the Charles Koch Institute and the Atlas Network for teaching me just about everything I know about management and strategic planning. And I'd like to thank Young Voices staff and writers who do the real work and make the real change for liberty. A wise man once told me, success is achieved by having the courage to say yes when when life-changing opportunities present themselves. I'd like to leave you all tonight with this word of encouragement. Say yes more and be bold in the fight for liberty. Thank you very much.
Okay, next, we are going to move on to Daniel Erspermer, who is the president and CEO of the Pelican Institute. Daniel took over this position and has truly revitalized the organization, building a strategic infrastructure throughout the state that includes a leadership academy and a litigation center. Daniel has also been a fantastic coach to state-based think tanks all around the country. For this amazing work, Daniel, I am so excited to give you this Buckley Award and to see your team, because he's lucky enough to be with his team over in New Orleans.
Thank you so much, Cindy. Unlike just I found before I found the sports
This is killing me.
am deeply honored to be awarded something named after William F. Buckley. And, you know, I was thinking about what really, and look, this is just a milestone on our way to success. And it, as everyone on this awards has noted, this is about team. This is about putting it all together to get to a big win and a big objective. If I can say one thing to folks that are listening, this is really about doing the work. We all started, every single one of us, started at an entry-level job somewhere along the way, whether we were in the freedom movement or outside of it, and really getting to success, moving to getting the job done, is really just about grinding it out, doing that work. There's no secret formula. And I think all too often, they really try to find the magic bullet, and it doesn't exist. I wish it did, but it doesn't. So work, and that's how we get to success. I will close. I've got my great team, some board members here around me. Please come to New Orleans. We need you. We need you to come back, and we will toast. We don't have classy champagne like Jessica, but I have a lovely frozen French 75. Thank you to America's Future Foundation, to the panel, to all of you for what you do. It's a pleasure to be with you and an honor to be awarded.
And finally, I'd like to introduce our 5th 2020 Buckley Award winner, Corey DeAngelis. He is the Director of School Choice at the Reason Foundation. I first learned about Corey a few years ago when he dominated in a school choice debate at Freedom Fest. Corey is a tireless advocate for choice in education, and he brings his message to nationwide audiences across mainstream media. For his work, he was named to the 2020 Forbes 30 Under 30 education list. Corey recognizes the vital importance of a strong education and works daily to ensure that young students have every opportunity to achieve their potential. Corey, for your work demanding educational opportunity and a thriving society, I am so pleased to recognize you with a Buckley Award this evening.
Hey, thank you so much. This is a huge honor. I'm super happy to accept this award. And really, this makes me feel really optimistic about it. And this year in particular, with the pandemic, has actually been a silver lining when it comes to educational freedom, because it's put a spotlight on this power imbalance that we have in K through 12 education. It's one thing for families to not be able to take their children's education dollars elsewhere when the educational institutions are failing to provide their children with meaningful educations. It's another conversation altogether when the schools aren't even opening for in-person instruction, yet still getting to keep families' education dollars. So this makes me feel really optimistic, and I think a lot more people are opening up to the idea and realizing that there's no good reason to fund institutions when you can fund students directly instead. Thank you so much.
Congratulations again to our winners, Casey, Justin, Jessica, Daniel, and Corey. You are all a testament to what can be accomplished with drive, a vision, and a great team behind you. I can't wait to toast with all of you someday soon. And to all of you in the audience, I hope tonight's winners are an inspiration for what each of you can accomplish, and I can't wait to announce your name as the winner of a future award. Now, it has been a wonderful evening so far, filled with celebrations of young people dedicated to building a more free and prosperous future for ourselves and our communities. These winners and all of you watching along with us are the reason AF exists. We know that for us to achieve the promise of America's future, it takes generation after generation of people standing firm in their beliefs while demanding that we tackle our biggest challenges. After 25 years of this work, we have never been more energized to keep moving upwards. Now, as we begin to wind up tonight's festivities, I'd like to take a moment to talk about America's Future Foundation and what we plan to accomplish in the years to come. Just to make sure that you guys are all paying attention, I'm going to ask you to pop into the comments and just write down the year that you first met AF. Because just like most of you, AF is really personal for me. As a new college grad in DC way back in 2006, I was young, scrappy, and hungry, and AF helped me meet lifelong friends and develop skills that allowed me to rise through the ranks in my career. When I returned in 2018, this time as its executive director, AF had expanded across the country. It's grown in budget, size, and influence. Over the years, tens of thousands of people have participated in events and discussions, written articles, and launched careers. When I tell people that I work for AF, they always say, "Oh, I love AF," and that brings me enormous pride. Now, as we look ahead to the next 25 years, we know that our nation faces some serious challenges. The events of 2020 have opened our eyes to the important conversations that we must have and the work that we cannot put off in order to achieve the life, liberty, and happiness our nation promises. The promise of America's future isn't guaranteed. The responsibility rests on us, the next generation of leaders, thinkers, activists, and citizens. We have to bravely face the challenges ahead and push for solutions that'll leave our country better than we found it. Because America's future is ours to build. So let's talk about that future for a moment. The truth is, the pain, the rage, the discord that we see today, it shouldn't be a surprise. There's a reason we believe in freedom over control. Because when the government inserts itself into our lives, things crumble. Families, livelihoods, institutions, their fingerprints are everywhere, from the shape of our apples to the medicines we take to the way we conduct business. We are seeing today proof that we are right, that human flourishing can only happen when we set each other free. When we are free, we build a world that is filled with wonder. We build a world where human dignity is honored, where opportunity abounds, and where innovation is constant. Now, of course, problems will persist. We're human, after all. But imagine the difference when the government isn't choosing who wins and who loses. We know what we're capable of, and we know that when people are free, when they are raised in a culture of responsibility and amazing things can happen. So let's tell the world about it. Let's show up at town council meetings and condo associations and on our Zoom happy hours, and let's push back on the constant need to control. And let's do it with joy, because we know that we're right. At AF, our mission is to develop lifelong, effective advocates for freedom. We aren't here to burn it down. We're here to join hands and rise up, to build a future that we can all be proud of. Now, if that sounds exciting to you, I really want to invite you to join us. Beginning right now, tonight, we'll be looking boldly to the future. Beginning tonight, we're now going to be known as America's future. This is our passion, this is our vision, and this is our calling. As America's future, we are inviting all of you to join us in brand new ways. Now, while you can still participate in chapters in 13 cities, we have launched 3 regional hubs to serve young leaders in the Northeast, in the Capital Region, and in the Southwest. These hubs will help you become a voice for change in your community. And then beginning in January, our new membership program will accelerate your passion. Whether freedom is your career or your hobby, this membership will connect you with a country full of change makers and give you opportunities to debate, to learn, to grow, and to lead. We are America's future, and with your help, we are going to make sure it is one filled with liberty and justice for all. I want to thank you all so much for joining us tonight. Thank you for your commitment to freedom and opportunity. Congratulations again to Bess and Natalie, Jared, to Casey, Justin, Jessica, Daniel, and Corey. Thank you to all of you. And thank you to our sponsors, especially Free the People. You guys are amazing. Guys, there is so much more in store for you and America's Future Foundation as we look ahead. Click on the link in the comments to join now, and I hope you'll join me. It's gonna be a hell of a ride. Thank you all again so much, and good night.